For my 5 minutes, Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to enter for the record this article, Triad Weed, How Chinese Marijuana Grows Took Over Rural Maine. This is an article that highlights how Chinese TCOs are basically taking over Maine via these illegal grow farms.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. According to, I apologize, CBP encountered record numbers of Chinese nationals crossing the border under the previous Democrat administration. During the last 4 years, there were over 170,000 Chinese nationals who were encountered nationwide, most of whom were caught crossing between the ports of entry. This does not include the potential Chinese nationals that are among the 2 million gotaways who completely evaded U.S. authorities are now are roaming American communities. Open border policies have consequences, and America's paying the price. In 2024 alone, there were nearly 79,000 Chinese nations encountered at the border. This is up from an average of only 1,500 a year over the previous decade. The majority of Chinese illegally entering the U.S. were single military-age men. 170,000 people, Chinese nationals, is equivalent to more than 176 U.S. Army battalions, or put it another way, they total more than 35 Army brigades, or nearly 12 divisions, or nearly 4 corps, or 3 field armies. That's how we can translate that, just for people's understanding. According to the DEA, Chinese TCOs have become dominant in the U.S. illicit marijuana market, establishing highly sophisticated multi-state operations. In New Mexico, a recent federal indictment exposed a 25-acre farm, 400-acre cultivation scheme on Navajo Nation lands tied to Chinese investors and recruited labor, resulting in the seizure of more than 260,000 plants, 60,000 pounds of marijuana. The networks integrate profits from cannabis into fentanyl trafficking, human smuggling, and global money laundering schemes, creating significant national security challenges, just as our witnesses have stated today. The American people don't know about this. This is, largely believed, especially in younger generations, that marijuana is a good thing, that it helps relieve stress, helps them sleep at night. And then there's also people that use it for PTSD and have success with it. There's medical uses of marijuana, but the American people have no idea that Chinese transnational criminal organizations are involved and that it's leading to other extremely terrible and dangerous crimes, and fentanyl, honestly. Director Anderson, how do these Chinese-backed illegal marijuana operations run? How, for the regular American, they're going, well, how is a crime organization from China able to run a marijuana farm?
These are very, very sophisticated. When I say sophisticated, this is at a level that law enforcement across the nation has never seen before, because they are that sophisticated and that complex. They're layered and they're hidden under many, many layers of LLCs and ownerships. When you begin to look, for example, in Oklahoma, you may have a John Smith who is the owner, the 75% owner of the marijuana grow. And as you dig through that thing, you'll find out that John Smith has never even been to the marijuana grow. John Smith was paid $3,500 to put his name on a license because the Chinese national can't do that in the state of Oklahoma. And that's how that happened in Oklahoma. But you have people in Flushing, New York, and in California that run a lot of stuff across the whole U.S. that may not ever step foot in the state of Oklahoma other than to make a visit every once in a while. But these are very well organized, very sophisticated, and it's not, and whenever I talk about this is really a global thing that's going on with the Chinese nationals. If you look at what's going on down in Latin America, what the Chinese are doing down in Latin America, even to the Caribbean, they're building roads. I mean, they're really investing in stuff, but there's a reason why this is going on. Mm-hmm. Once again, this comes right back to the U.S., to the national security, and what's going on in as well as to Oklahoma. But you're right. I don't think the majority of the people in the U.S. realize what's going on. Mm-hmm. People in the marijuana industry really hate on me, they think I'm just against marijuana.
Right.
I'm not. It has, for me, it has nothing to do with marijuana. If someone wants to ingest marijuana, that's their business. For me, it has everything to do with the transnational criminal organizations who are doing things such as trafficking in very large amounts of marijuana. They are laundering billions, not millions. Oklahoma's probably well over $100 billion just for Oklahoma. The murders, the sex trafficking, which is probably one of the most deplorable things that we have to deal with. How we treat other humans like this, I just don't get it. But the rest of the U.S. probably don't know really what's going on. And it's not just Oklahoma. Yeah, Oklahoma's kind of the epicenter of kind of what's going on right now because we do have such a liberal marijuana law. But the sex trafficking, the violent crimes, the underground casinos, the underground banking is going on all across the U.S.
Wow, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm out of time. Mr. Chairman, we need to explore how we can help state and federal work together to trace the money and track this down. Thank you.